Vale, y nos vamos a la habitación de Fifi. Vamos a mirar todo lo de esta habitación. Empezamos por esto. Libro ilustrado sobre aves.
Looks like somebody was halfway.
Or it was left open for us to find.
Ever so slightly unnerving.
Vale, un librito todo guapo. El bañotinta es un pájaro notablemente inteligente que vive muchos años, incluso para tratarse de un ave místida. A menudo las otras aves son agresivas con él, por lo que el bañotinta suele pasarse la mayor parte de su vida solo. Tiene unos hábitos alimentarios peculiares y, por lo general, solo come semillas de Tatum amica en la ilustración, que es esto de aquí. Vale.
Books about ancient history?
These books are ancient history. I think they'd crumble into dust if I tried to pick them up.
Good excuse.
Thanks. Books of geography.
Geography, pájaros. Geography, pájaros. No sé si es un fallo de traducción o está hecho así a posta. Si está hecho así a posta es un poco raro.
A book on the floor. Fundamental entomology.
Que creo que esto era bichos, lo busqué. Creo que se me ha olvidado. ¿Se le caería a alguien? Bueno, mira, toda la estantería de bichos está completamente vacía.
Well, theoretically, there's not a single book on that shelf.
Esto me da a pensar que Freya a lo mejor se los llevó todos y se le cayó ese, o alguien se los quitó a Freya para que no los viera. No sé, algo raro.
Books about space.
Sobre el espacio.
Relatively untouched.
Relativamente nuevos.
Sure. Why not build a science lab in the corner of the library?
Tienes el conocimiento al ladito.
The search for new knowledge, the archiving of old knowledge. It's downright poetic.
Esto de aquí.
Is that a snow globe?
Of sorts.
Vale, y esto me hace pensar que tal vez Freya hizo el dibujo desde la perspectiva de la bola de nieve, porque nos han dicho que es un dibujo que no es realmente la realidad.
Hey, look at that.
Y dijo Sally que el lago era muy circular y esto es un círculo.
It's a model of Tangle Tower. There's the lake and those weird mountains. What are you thinking?
That would make an amazing souvenir.
La verdad. Vale. Esto de aquí.
What's in those bottles?
I'm not sure. Soil samples?
Muestras de suelo. Vale.
Books about birds.
The shelves are about half empty.
Oh, so you're the shelves are half empty kind of person.
You knew this already.
Vale, ¿y esto?
Books about nature?
Vale, y hablamos con... Bueno, espérate, antes de hablar con Fifi vamos a mirar su pizarrita.
Chalkboard.
Is this a library or a classroom?
Y vamos a examinarla mejor. Yo cuando vi esto me rayé mucho porque fue como... no entiendo nada.
Any idea what this means?
Not a clue.
Exactamente.
Math equations.
Don't look at them for too long. You'll give yourself a headache.
No entiendo muy bien esto, la verdad. Me lo quedé mirando, no entiendo nada. No sé si alguno de estos símbolos de aquí está en lo del invernadero. Lo miraré fuera de cámara, seguramente.
I'm not sure I learned anything from that.
Yo tampoco. Y ahora sí hablamos con Fifi. Vale, encuentro.
Curious. I would expect bacteria of that nature to thrive in these conditions.
Excuse me.
Taking all the environmental factors into account, there must be something I am still missing.
May I talk to you, miss?
She knows we're here. She just doesn't care.
I am a detective, and I need to talk.
Correction. You do not need to talk to me.
Oh no? How come?
¿Por qué no?
Because
Sospechosa.
I am not a suspect. I am completely innocent of any and all
Es
crimes.
monísima.
Thanks for letting me know.
Speaking of which, you have
Su
now been
voz.
at Tangle Tower for over 23 minutes.
Gracias.
Surely you have
Nos has
already
visto
reached
llegar,
a sturdy
entonces.
hypothesis.
A hypothesis about the murder?
Yeah, come on, Grimoire, hurry up.
My apologies. Unfortunately, protocol dictates I must at least meet all the suspects.
Me acabo de dar cuenta de que tienen
And that
4 dedos
includes
solo.
you. So, could you tell me your name?
Fifi Fellow.
Fifi Fellow.
Microbiologist, inventor, innovator.
Y Rosita.
You will need to be more specific. Oneself cannot be summarized in a single response without doing one a great disservice.
So true.
Well, first of all, you're a fellow. So does that make you the daughter of...
Correct.
Flora.
My father and mother are named Flora and Felix.
Vale, Flora y Félix. Flora es la que está en la torre, la que no habla. Félix es el que nos dijo Fitz que apareció con Penélope y que no se les suele ver juntos. Y por lo tanto es el padre de esta.
But you need not question either of them. It will only waste valuable time. Neither of them are capable of murder.
Thanks for the tip.
Fifi, you said you were a micro... something or other?
Microbiologist. But it is an insignificant label. My studies cannot be categorized in any one recognized field.
What made you want to become a scientist in the first place?
I harbor an intrinsic fascination with the microscopic. I constructed my first one at age 10.
Constructed a microscope?
Correct.
And what's that thing on your head? Did you make that too?
My eyesight began to deteriorate when I turned 12. Not satisfied with the eyeglasses prescribed to me, I designed this custom lens instead. It automatically adjusts based on the surrounding light conditions.
Does it glow red when you get angry?
No, but that would be most amusing.
Vale. ¿Qué hiciste
What
ayer?
can you tell me about the murder?
What can you tell me about... Wait, that's what I'm supposed to ask you.
Yes, however, you were too slow.
You fancy yourself a detective too, Fifi?
I just need to know what happened.
Me too. So talk.
Necesitas saber.
I knew ahead of time that Freya was going to be busy with her painting all day, so I had planned to spend the afternoon with Poppy. I was in the library all morning preparing the equipment for an experiment, only to find out that Poppy had made other plans and she was in fact planning to ignore me completely.
Oh.
So what did you do instead?
I locked myself in my room and cried.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Why?
¿Por
I don't
qué?
know, it just sounds kind of sad.
It is not unusual.
Oh. Good.
I was in my room. The lights were off and the door was locked.
Vale, tienes la habitación justo debajo de la de Fitz y... Vale. Luces apagadas y puerta cerrada.
Someone began banging on the door. I ignored it until the someone began shouting at me. I opened the door. Poppy came into my room. Her makeup was leaking. She told me Freya was dead. I did not believe it. I thought she was playing a trick on me, so I punched her in the face.
Perfecto.
She insisted that we go up to Flora's tower. We left the room, and Poppy's father was waiting outside. He followed us upstairs. When I saw Freya lying on the floor, I was completely and utterly devastated.
¿Qué es esto? ¿Qué es esto? ¿Por qué aquí? ¿Por qué aquí Flora está de pie? Vale, voy a tener que mirarme otra vez cada cosa de ellos en fuera de cámara, porque creo que incluso en la de este señor esto estaba roto. Esa estaba de rodillas, ahora esta está de pie. Lo de que entran estos tres sí que lo dije también, Fritz.
Then I took a sample of the red paint on the unfinished painting. Poppy and I took the sample back downstairs to the library. We performed a test and found out that it was, in fact, blood.
You performed that scientific test immediately, even though you were feeling so upset?
Of course. Why would one affect the other?
Vale,
Name, Flora Fellow.
tu madre.
Age,
Edad,
24.
mira,
Profession,
edad
unknown.
44. 44. Luego vamos a mirar cuánta pone que tiene en nuestro archivo.
Dislikes, unknown.
Isn't she your mother? How do you not know anything?
I believe other people may have discovered methods of reaching her, but I have little capacity for interpreting nonverbal communication.
And how long has Flora been... non-verbal?
She has always been quiet, willing to speak when necessary, but not more.
So what happened to make her stop talking entirely?
She suffered a great loss, something she has been unable to move beyond. Name, Haksha. Age, unknown. Profession, private detective. Likes, quote, being left alone. Dislikes, quote, being constantly badgered by a weirdo nerd with a clipboard.
Ey, clipboard. Qué mona.
Name, Freya Fellow. Age, 19. Profession,
19 años,
artist.
Freya.
Deceased.
Fallecida.
Understand this. Most people find me difficult. They exhibit a noticeable degree of discomfort when talking to me. There it is. Freya, who had a way of being an exception to any given rule, was not at all like this. She is very important, and I will not rest until I understand what has happened to her.
Did you spend a lot of time with Freya recently?
I will say this. In the past year, Freya became, 1, increasingly independent, and 2, increasingly isolated.
Do you know why?
I do not. If you are looking for a speculative, empathetic opinion, try asking Poppy instead.
The three of you are friends.
We are of a similar age, and all highly gifted. 1 scientist, 1 artist, and 1 musician.
Sounds like quite a team.
Name,
Fitz.
Fitzfellow, age, 24.
Criptobotánico. El señor...
Cryptobotanist.
Soy jardinero, pero no cobro. Criptobotánico.
Likes soil,
Me gusta la
dislikes
tierra.
electric lights.
Hang on. Cryptobotanist? I thought he was just a gardener.
That may well be his preferred label. Mine, however, is more accurate.
Do you and Fitz not see eye to eye, Fifi?
We do not.
Ni nos
Well,
miramos.
Thought so. He's well over 6 foot and you've got to be just barely 5.
So what's your problem with him?
Exactly 1 week ago, I witnessed him sneaking up
Tu problema
into
es
the tower.
Poppy.
He was making every
That's
effort
your
to avoid
problem.
detection.
So?
He was also carrying a knife.
A ver. ¿Llevaba un cuchillo o llevaba la paleta que de lejos puede parecer un cuchillo?
Name, Fiona Fellow. Age, 19. Profession, amateur microbiologist. Likes, the meaningful archiving of information. Dislikes, the superfluous window dressing accompanying the majority of human contact. Notes, kindly disregard the polysyllabic form of my given forename and refer to me instead as Fifi.
Entonces,
How come you prefer Fifi?
creo que ella se llama
How
Fiona,
come you
puede ser.
prefer Grimoire?
Grimoire.
How are you related to the other fellows?
Fitz is my cousin. His father, a man named Flint, was my uncle.
Was?
I do not know if Flint is alive or not. He left Tangle Tower a long time
Con
ago.
Flint no
And
contamos.
what about Freya? How are you related to her?
We share exactly 1 grandparent.
Vale. Y esto que no se lo llegamos a preguntar, así
What
que...
is your opinion of Tangle Tower?
Oh, it's impressive.
¿Cuál es la tuya?
Elaborate gardens, unique architecture.
Must be worth a fortune.
Why do you ask, Fifi?
I am the heir of the Fellow family and the Remington family. This makes me the sole beneficiary of Tangle Tower.
That's quite an inheritance.
They can't make you do anything, Fifi. If you don't want the house, just tell them. Or just sell it. Who cares?
You sound like her.
Like who? Como Freya.
I require facts. What do you know?
Well, we know Freya was stabbed with a knife, and then she fell.
Correction. She was stabbed with something.
Exacto.
There was no knife found at the crime scene.
Apart from the one in the painting.
Pero que... Amigui, que... de verdad. Es que tampoco es... ¿Cómo va a estar pinta con sangre? ¿Dónde sacó la sangre? La regla hizo... voy a meter el pincel aquí, lo saco y pinto. Efectivamente no. Luego tienes aquí 2 plantitas, que solo había una. Esta, que en un testimonio estaba arrodillada y en otro estaba de pie. Este cuadro no es verdadero. Este cuadro no es el que estaba pintando ella, según lo que yo pienso.
Which, as a mere abstract representation, does not count.
Representación
Nobody
abstracta.
has ever been stabbed by the concept of a knife.
Todavía. Exacto.
This belongs
To
to
Poppy.
Poppy. In fact, she owns a number of cassette tapes.
What happened to it, though?
It has been left underwater for an extended period of time.
Pero antes fue enterrada.
Right, but why?
I do not know why.
Ella te puede decir lo que ve, pero...
The statue itself does not interest me, but I do wish to know about those symbols on the heart. Have you deciphered their meaning yet?
No.
We're working on it.
We are.
We are. No estamos, de verdad.
Curious.
¿Por qué esta también dice curioso con la carta?
Freya is normally highly skilled at capturing someone's likeness, but in this painting, she has accidentally made Flora look quite young.
I think she was just being kind.
No.
Why is that kind?
No.
Anyway, I'm far more interested in what Flora is holding. I performed a test on the red paint myself. I discovered that it was in fact not paint, but blood.
Por casualidad no
What
tendrás
made you
un
want to test it
registro
in
de
the
la
first
sangre de
place?
todas las personas que viven aquí y podrás identificar, ¿no? ¿Verdad?
It was Poppy. She told me she thought the painting looked like a bloody knife. I told her not to be ridiculous. My mother owns no such knife. But then I noticed that the color was slightly too dark, and the substance itself was overly viscous.
You noticed that just from looking at it once?
A ver, también digo,
Of course,
se puede saber si algo es sangre o no.
the red paint on the brush is not paint. It is blood.
Vale, esto es sangre, ok.
Same for the palette.
Y esto también es sangre.
So Freya added the blood to the painting herself?
Or blood got on the brush and palette some other way?
I do not know the answer.
Ella no lo sabe.
The
Gramófono.
gramophone belongs to
¿Y
Poppy,
por qué está roto?
but I believe she gave it to my mother, and my mother often loaned it to Freya.
Vale.
Maybe it is the other way around.
Si es al revés, entonces Poppy se lo daba a Freya y Freya se lo daba a Flora.
When did it get cracked?
I cannot pinpoint it exactly. All I know is that it must have happened sometime in the last 2 days.
Vale, según lo que yo dije, sucedió...
Is she laughing?
That belongs to my mother.
Sí.
I think she must be fond of eggs. There are a number of egg-shaped carvings to be found
Sí.
in the garden and in the grand hall.
Yeah, what's the deal with all the eggs?
Some people just like eggs.
Ok.
The fruit here has a unique chemical makeup. It makes them completely pointless, unless you wish to cut it down and sell it as a precious stone.
It's not edible?
Depends
On what?
De si quieres morir o no.
on the structural integrity of your teeth.
Bueno, parecido, la verdad. Se me está cayendo todo el rato el auricular. Pero bueno.
That blade
Arma blanca,
It's a
bro.
troll.
Relájate. Paleta.
is.
En serio. ¿Ves? Yo estoy con Fifi. Yo estoy con Fifi.
Do you know who was reading this book?
It belongs to my mother.
And she left it in the library?
No, my mother has not been in the library for some time.
Entonces, ¿quién lo dejó allí?
This belongs to Professor Pointer, does it not?
El profesor Pointer.
No, I don't think so.
Well, who else would own such a pointless little telescope?
It's a telescope.
Oh, yes. It has a telescopic lens. It could only be used for looking at things that are far away.
Vale.
Fifi, did you test the red paint in this pot?
Yes, I did.
Y es
I
pintura.
discovered it too was blood, not paint.
Es sangre esto también. El simbolito. Porque todo esto es como la línea de la pintura, pero este símbolo es
A
distinto.
whole pot full of blood?
Not a whole pot. It is only partially full.
Yeah, but still. Doesn't that freak you out?
No. In fact, it may be considered rather reassuring.
Mm. Bueno. Vale, vale. Voy a preguntar a la gente las cosas nuevas que tenemos y después de eso me voy. Bueno, me voy. Lo dejamos. Hola, querida, ¿cómo te encuentras? Te voy a preguntar sobre tu
You
hija.
spoke to your daughter Fifi.
Fifi, Fifi, Fifi.
She's some kind of super intelligent
Y
scientist.
súper mona.
You must be proud of her.
Ay, ¿ha bajado la cabeza más lento de lo normal? ¿Es posible?
Have you seen this book before?
Es tuyo, se
Do you know who
supone.
it belongs to?
I really thought she was gonna say something there.
Ya, igual, no sé por qué. Ah, como muchos puntos suspensivos ha hecho. Yo te juro que de aquí se me está quedando algo que tengo que ver. Porque, vale, lo de la planta, ok, pero...
Freya's painting supplies.
Porque esto es que incluso el tarro es de otro color. Vamos a ver si hay tarros de este color en algún lugar en toda la casita. En la casita, en la casaza. Vale, vamos a enseñarle a esta cosita. Y háblame de Fifi.
Considerably intelligent.
Como que
Her
bastante.
powers of observation are enviable, but she has no ambition, no focus.
In her defense, she's still a teenager.
La verdad.
Barely.
A ver, 19 años. Libro de
A book
ave.
from the library, one of hundreds, no doubt. What makes this one special?
It's about birds.
Y estaba abierto.
Yes, I see that.
Enhorabuena, tienes ojos. Vale. Hola Fitz, venimos a hablar contigo. ¿Qué me puedes decir de Fifi?
Fifi doesn't like me.
What
Vale.
did you do?
I'm not
Existir.
sure. If you find out, maybe you can let me know.
Yo creo que es por Poppy. Pero tampoco voy a decir aquí.
Penelope knows about birds.
Penélope, vale. Penélope sabe de
You
aves.
should ask her instead.
Actually, I wanted to ask you about something. There's a plant mentioned on this page, see?
Vale, vale, vale. La planta.
Do you have any? In the greenhouse?
No, I don't grow
Ya
them anymore.
no. Antes sí.
I've tried in the past. It's incredibly difficult, even for me. I could never get it to live more than a couple of weeks.
2 semanas. Vale. Vale, espérate. Voy a mirar lo de las edades, porque nos ha dicho Freya. ¡Ah! Esto no lo había visto. Qué guay, qué guay, qué guay. Vale, pero aquí, en el expediente del caso, Freya 19, pero aquí Flora nos han dicho que tiene 44 años y aquí pone que tiene 58. ¿Aquí me pone la edad de Flora o algo? ¿Qué es esto? ¿Qué es esto? Ah, vale, ok. Los links. Ah, su cuarto. ¿Hay algo sospechoso sobre Flora? Vale. Primrose es su hermana, Richard su hermano y Lord Remington es su padre. Vale. Emily Everstone, su madre, y Flynn Fellow, su padre. De Freya, su madre es Felicia Fellow, Damian Dusk, y su amiga íntima es Fifi Fellow. Y tú, que no estás relacionado con absolutamente nadie. Algo sospechoso, algo sospechoso, algo sospechoso. ¿Cómo fue asesinada Freya? Vale. Ah, el recorrido que hizo de la biblioteca hasta aquí. Ella, de aquí a aquí, no se toparon. Ella se quedó ahí y él estaba en el jardín, pasó por su cuarto para allá. Vale. Pues yo creo que lo vamos a dejar por aquí. Eso ha sido todo. Si tenéis teorías, algo que veáis que se me haya pasado o eso, pues me lo ponéis en los comentarios, porque yo los leo, tampoco son muchos, ¿sabes? Son 1, 0, 2. Entonces, si tenéis algo así que hayáis visto y yo no, me lo dejáis en los comentarios. Si os ha gustado, dale al like, comentar, suscribiros, lo que queráis y nos vemos en el próximo vídeo.